and welcome to this rather unusual little thing. Excuse the lights that are reflecting off the glasses. I don't know what to do about that. At any rate, stay with me just a minute. I want to talk about a little thing that might be of interest. Some time ago, Hillary Clinton, well, back up just a little bit. I mentioned this in one of my other videos, maybe you didn't see it, but back in the 2016 election, I wrote a book. Let me pull it up here so you can kind of see what it is. Get rid of all this stuff. Picture the book, Just Suppose, Series of Serious Possibilities. And in there I pose the possibility that, say, Hillary Clinton was elected president in that 2016 election, and I pose some things that possibly she might try to do, what her agenda might be. And then another what if was, what if Donald Trump won? And based on some issues that he had been talking about during the process of the campaign, what might he do? And we know that Donald Trump won. One of the things that I supposed in there, or proposed, was that Barack Obama, I believe that both of these people, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, are operating as puppets for some very strong spiritual evil beings. The Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness in spiritual places and so forth, and that's who we're talking about. Beings that have been put in charge over cities and over high-ranking politicians on both sides, the good and the bad. Angelic beings on one side and demonic beings on the other side. You can believe that or not. That's not what the show is about. But one thing that I proposed is that when Barack Obama was operating in his role as supposed president of the United States, his marching orders were to so beat down the reputation of the United States. And that's what he did. He traveled all over the world apologizing for who America had been. And the purpose of it was to start the United States on a downward spiral that would make the United States fit within a one world government situation that is what the Bible predicts would be the world government situation when the Antichrist comes to power. And I believe that maybe some timing and things off on when that happens, but I believe that's what's going to happen. And in this book, I supposed that if Hillary Clinton was elected president, her job would be to continue the process all the way to its finale. I believe the timing was wrong, and I think, as I've said before, God stuck a stick in Satan's eye, and the name of the stick was Donald Trump. So Donald Trump was elected, and you all know that that's history and good things happen. And then in the 2020 election, I'm not going to get into the ifs, ands, and buts about the stolen election. The fact is that Joe Biden is there, legitimately or not, and he's about as evil and worthless as any human being has ever been that has been put in that office, that position as president of the United States. And I think the last few days he's proved it with his trip to Israel, and then trying to cuddle up to the Palestinians, and then going over there on his knees and begging for oil from the Saudis. He's as useless as it's possible for a human being to be, in my opinion, as president. No human being is totally useless. They all have redeeming value, but as the job of president, I think we know what he's done. Now, the book that I mentioned before, I started to mention, and I backtracked on that one, called The Return by Dick Morris. And the subtitle is Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. Now, recently, some months back, Hillary Clinton kind of stuck her head up and started making babbling noises about she might run again for president. And then she sort of backtracked on that. And then I did a video a few days ago. You may have seen it. It's on my channel, video channel, YouTube channel, that posed the question, was it within the realm of possibility that Hillary Clinton could be elected as president, or back up, could become president without being elected? Now, if you want to see the possibility of that and the little what if that I pitched out on that, you can go back and watch that video. This one is a little bit different. In this, let's suppose, I'm going to get rid of these things here. Let's suppose that this thing ends up in 2024 with Donald Trump running on the Republican side, and Hillary Clinton then running on the Democratic side. Cap's crooked. What are the possibilities? Let me just pitch out what I believe is possible based on Bible prophecy. And that's the genre that I'm using in all of the things I talk about, trying to tie it some way to Bible prophecy. I believe that we're on a time course, if I can call it that, an agenda, God's agenda. And that agenda is taking us, it started, of course, with in my opinion, Jesus riding into Jerusalem on the back of the donkey and allowing himself to be proclaimed as the Messiah. And then 4 days later, he was crucified. I think that point stopped the clock that was ticking down on the 490 year, I get it out in a minute, 400-year prophecy given in Daniel, the 9th chapter, about the final 490 years that God would be dealing with the nation of Israel. Not with the Gentiles, with the nation of Israel. At the point, and the date was given, and you could track it back. That's not for us to do right now. I'll do it later on another program. But the timing for Jesus to do exactly that act, ride into Jerusalem, what we call Good Friday, on a donkey, and allow himself to be proclaimed as Messiah. Up until that point in time, he had rejected that and held it back. Then, at this point in time, he said, if in response to the Sanhedrin ordering the people to stop proclaiming Jesus as Messiah, he said, if these people stop praising me, then the rocks will cry out. So he accepted that statement that he was Messiah. The prophecy from Daniel says that the time that Messiah is cut off, not for himself, but cut off from being proclaimed as Messiah, that would stop the clock at exactly 483 years from the date that the nation of Israel laid the first stone to begin the rebuilding of the wall of Jerusalem following the 70 years of captivity in Babylon. So that happened exactly. Now the clock stopped. That clock will start again at the moment that the Antichrist signs, or he signs a paper, but I think he's ratifying a treaty that's already in place. It may be the Abraham Accord, but he ratifies that treaty for 7 years, and that starts the last 7 years of this prophecy. That's the tribulation period. Now, I believe that we're marching very rapidly towards that, just within a very short time. Rapture of the church, as far as we can determine, will be the next event on God's calendar. But I believe that we're on this timeline, marching down to the end of this age. Now, let me get back to what I was going to say. Let's suppose, just suppose, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton tie up again 2024. Here's what I propose, is what I just suppose, put it that way. If God is finished with the United States in its former glory and power. And if it's time for the United States to complete the process that was started, not actually started, but moved forward. It was some other presidents kind of kicked the can down the road a little bit, but primarily by Barack Obama. And God wants to very rapidly cause the United States to descend into a state of just nothing but another world, or not even a world power, but another part of a one world government. Hillary Clinton will win. If there's a time factor, much like it was in 2016, where God wants to allow the United States to recover from all of the damage done through the pandemic, through this phony shot that I think was designed to kill people. If God's ready for the United States to recover from that and for there to be another time period when, as much as anything else, there will be I don't believe we have room in the Bible to say there will be a great revival of returning to Christianity. I think just the opposite. It says there'll be a great falling away. Be that as it may, if there is a reprieve allowed by God, Donald Trump will win. And I believe that that's the deciding factor on who comes out ahead on this race in 2024. Now, I may be just as wrong as it can possibly be, but that, as I see it, is the prophetic possibilities of this next presidential election. Hope I'm around to see it all. If not, again, I say, the most important thing you can do in your life is to make sure that you are in right standing with Jesus Christ, not through some church, not through some ritual, but through a personal born-again experience with Jesus Christ. If you haven't experienced that, I urge you to do it now. It's very simple. It's just a simple process of believing in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, confessing with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and you will be saved. See you on the next side.